Hello again, Izzy at Digital Goja Showrooms. I searched Amazon, eBay, Google, our customer service questions about what are the most frequently asked questions about the new Olympus EMD Mark II. I'd like to share them with you. Now, the way I'm going to do this is we're going to split this up into two videos. The first section will be beginner questions about the OMD E-M1 Mark II, and the second part will be advanced questions. If this video helps you, as always, remember to subscribe to our channel and hit me up with a like button. And don't forget, when in Miami, visit me at Digital Goja Showroom. Alrighty, so like I said, we've waited a long time for this, almost 4 years. And you know, there's been all sorts of info put on the webs. You know, now we're going to take a look at what it actually comes with. Here, of course, first of all is your warranty card. This is good in the US, and if it is purchased from an authorized dealer like Digital Goja. And then this box seems to have something in it. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, this is heavy. So they obviously put something in here. Oh yep, here is an actual instruction booklet. How many of us are going to go through that? And an Olympus digital camera pamphlet brochure. Interesting. Let's look in here. Here we go, USB 3.0, and you have to, considering the files that it's going to do. Now remember, this is now a 20.4 megapixel live MOS sensor with 4K video. So it's a USB 3.0 to USB-C. Good job, Olympus. You went with the newer technology on that. That makes life simpler. We'll have to check later on and see if it does allow some kind of external power supply. Here is your power cable for your wall charger. And again, they're going to complain, oh yep, they've done it for many years. If you want, there are some third-party adapters where you can put this right into the wall. But it is universal voltage from 100 to 240 volts. And that's to work with their brand new battery. Here it is. The new BLH1, which is 1,720 milliamps. All right. Well, this is the velourish case, like I like to call it. This is the one that you're going to use for your FL LM3, which is very popular. Olympus has been providing this for many years now. This is the best way to get a flash onto your Olympus OMD camera, is with this portable one, which actually works off of the power source in your camera. This is a bracket so that your USB 3.0 maintains a constant connection and that you don't have any kind of external issues with pulling on the cable when you're downloading. Very nice. And here is your standard Olympus camera strap. And of course, last but definitely not least, let's get this out of the way. Wow, very nicely packaged. Yep, there it is. Your brand new Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II. Now let's take a closer look. Notice how they made it a tad larger than the original Olympus OMD EM1. But I love this grip. This is really great because this is now going to allow us sports and wildlife photographers to work with the larger lenses, like of course that beautiful 300mm f4, and it'll work great in the hand. And of course, don't forget that new 12 to 100. Notice how you still have your separate dials for aperture and shutter speed. You have your function buttons. They're all laced throughout, whether you want to use a function 1 or function 2. Plus notice on the dial where there were a lot of rumors, oh, they got rid of the custom dials. No, they didn't. You have up to 3 custom settings, and you still have your PASM, and they put your art filter right on top here with, of course, your video, which remember, now we're dealing with 4K ultra high definition, and this is at 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. Of course, your body still has the 5-axis image stabilization, which allows you to work with 5.5 stops difference when it comes to your actual shooting speed. But this is great because when you combine it with some of these new lenses, like the aforementioned 300 millimeter or 12 to 100, you now work with the lens and the body as far as image stabilization. So that gives you up to 6.5 stops. And the added benefit of a swivel screen. This is something that we all asked for, and Olympus, you know, they listened to us. They actually went ahead and gave us a 3-inch 1.04 million dot vari-angle touchscreen, and this allows you to touch screen for focusing and even for shooting parameters. Of course, you still have your electronic viewfinder and your hot shoe, which allows you to work with the many different flashes that are out there. And on the left over here, you have your HDR, your focus buttons. You even have something that a lot of us thought has disappeared forever. And here it is, so that you can put your PC connection for a strobe. So if you're working with some of the studio lights, there's your PC connection for it. So, wow, incredible. And of course, since it's very video centric, you have your microphone input and you have a headphone monitor jack. So you have everything you need to make this work for video production. Plus, of course, you now have dual SD card slots, and slot 1 works with UHS 2 and slot 2 works with UHS 1. So yes, you can't have both of them in the high rate of speed, but that's great because that's going to allow us to work for the 4K video that this guy is going to allow us to do. So there we have it. A closer look at the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II body. Remember, completely weather sealed. They did not skimp out on anything. You can actually see the weather sealing all throughout. Dust proof. It's a very well put together system with the dual fast 121 point autofocus, 15 frames per second, expanded ISO all the way up to a 25,600 ISO. And your electronic viewfinder has been upgraded to 2.36 dots. So if you are in the market for pretty much the leading Micro Four Thirds body at the moment, you definitely have to take a closer look at the OMD E-M1 Mark II. Let's get started with the most asked questions about the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II for beginning users. What lenses can I use with my Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II? Well, of course, it still is a Micro Four Thirds camera. It's a little bit beefier, but there's reason for that. They are jumping into much larger lenses. I'll have a perfect example right here. This is the new 12 to 100 millimeter f4. This is the new 12 to 100 millimeter f4. This lens was honestly created, I think, with this camera in mind, because now this is one of the new Pro series that has the image stabilization. So in combination with this camera, you now have up to 6.5 stops of stabilization. That's a very popular lens. You also have something like this, like the new 30 millimeter macro. Again, a very popular lens in Micro Four Thirds mount that'll work perfectly on the Olympus. And you even have third-party lenses like the new Sigma 30 millimeter 1.4. And notice there's a designation that states that it is in a Micro Four Thirds mount. So that allows you to easily connect it to your OMD E-M1 Mark II. And then you have the capability of having it focus right away. Even in low contrast shooting, like my Digital Goja showroom at the moment, allows it to still work perfectly. So there you have it. Many different options available as lenses for your Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II. What kind of memory cards can I work with this camera? Well, of course, it is ST-XC, that means extra capacity, so you can work with these huge 128 gig cards. But remember, this one also has the capability of working with UHS version 2 cards on the first slot, and then the standard UHS version 1 on the bottom slot. So this one right here, which is a UHS 2, will work perfectly on the top slot. And also remember, you can work with 2 cards at the same time. There's no need to jump into these huge cards, but Of course, if you are doing video and it's the Ultra HD video like the OMD E-M2 allows you to record in, of course you're going to have the capability of working with these larger cards. That's going to be a very important feature to be able to record the time and the raw files that are needed to do great ultra high definition video. So again, use UHS 2 cards or UHS 1 cards. Is it the same screen size as my original OMD E-M1? Yes, it is. They went with the standard 3-inch screen. And of course, now you do have the swivel capability where this guy can swing out and you can even close it up if you choose to. But if you have screen protectors or hoods or magnifying devices for the original one, which I have here, it is the same screen size. So you won't have to worry about purchasing any additional screen protectors or hoods or so forth, because you'll be able to use the same one if you upgrade to the new OMD E-M2 version. That's one of the features that they added on here, is the articulating screen. A lot of us were asking for it and Olympus came through. I mean, on the Olympus version 1 of the OMD E-M1, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it only angles like so. And a lot of us videographers, which is the main reason why I think this camera was brought into the market, prefer the swivel screen. So if you are upgrading, you're going to love the fact that you now have a fully articulating screen. And it's even going to work for you selfie users out there, because you'll be able to do this number and still work with it. Does it have a headphone monitor jack? Yes. Again, this is Olympus listening to what us users want. There is the port. Completely sealed, because remember, this is a weather sealed system. So we pop that open and it's the standard 3.5 plug. So you have your standard 3.5 plug from your headphone. Plugs in like so. And now you have the capability of monitoring your audio as you do your recording for your video. Can I use an external microphone? I highly recommend it, especially now that we're going to be doing some really good video with the OMD E-M1 Mark II. Here is your microphone port, standard 3.5 jack. So you can connect your favorite condenser microphone or lavalier, whatever you choose to work with. And again, you have full audio recording, which will obviously be much better than if you work with internal microphones. What is the highest ISO I can set on here? Well, let's activate our super menu. And notice how we have the ISO setting here. Let's click on it. Right now it was set to auto. Don't recommend that, but everybody has a choice. And then you can go ahead and, using the toggle wheel, I'm going to keep higher. I mean, we're already past 10,000, 12,000. And it's telling you right now that it's doing an extension to get into these super high ISOs. Makes it all the way up to 25,600 ISO. So if you need to work in extremely low light, there you have it. You can set it all the way up to 25,600 ISO for stills. Does the camera have auto scene selection? No, it really does not. I mean, if you want to work on auto, you can switch it to intelligent auto, and then the camera is going to pick what type of exposure it suggests for the imaging that you're doing currently. But honestly, this is a pro/prosumer camera. So you want to work with either program, aperture priority, shutter priority, or manual. You really don't want to let the camera try to figure out what kind of imaging you want to do. Can I do sports or action photography with the OMD E-M1 Mark II? Wow, absolutely. I think that's the main reason why this camera was implemented. So let's take it off of program. Let's go to shutter priority because you're interested in just picking the really fast shutter speed. So let's turn it on and let's activate our super menu. First, you set your ISO, pick one accordingly depending on the type of lens you're working with. Then we're going to go ahead and switch our shooting mode to high speed sequential, so that way you have the highest frame rate of shooting. And now let's go into our focus points. Hit that again, scroll up. Again, remember you have a touchscreen. I'm just really bad about remembering that. Click on it. Now we want to switch it from single AF to continuous AF. This is the one that's going to allow you to shoot at the maximum focusing capability of the new OMD E-M1 Mark II. Listen to that baby go. Yeah, definitely can stop action, whether it's sports or running children or running pets. Let's get started with the most asked questions about the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II for advanced users. How does this compare to the Panasonic GH4, which for the longest time has been the leader in the industry for video recording? Well, I think this is one of the main reasons why Olympus came out with the OMD E-M1 Mark II, is to compete in the video realm. This guy does DCI video at 237 megabits per second compared to the Panasonic, which is 100 megabits per second. Now, of course, this is recording internally to the SDXC UHS2 series card. It's a different ball of wax if we're recording externally to external recorders like Atomos and so forth. You also have the newer technology with their new TruePic version 8 dual quad-core processor on here, and also their new sensor from Sony, the 20.4 megapixel live MOS. So if you are in the market to do some great video with micro four thirds, this is the camera to beat now, the OMD E-M1 Mark II. What is the max bit rate for HDMI out? Well, that really depends on the recorder that you're using. But remember, it's going to be uncompressed, and you're going to be able to record on Apple ProRes, on Avid DNX HD. You're going to lose your time restrictions because now you'll even be able to record to an SSD drive. And of course, you'll have more video control on your exposure, including even false color. So if you are going to be doing some Pro Ultra HD video, I would highly recommend using an external recorder. Can I record my video at 120 frames per second for a higher bit rate and also to be able to do slow motion? No, it does it at 60, but I'll show you in the menu. Go into your video mode menu and go into specification settings, and then move it to the right, and notice how I can go ahead and I can shoot at 60 frames per second on fine, which is 30 megabytes per second, or super fine, which is 52 megabits per second, so it has less compression. So that way you can still do fast video and play it in slow motion and maintain your video quality much better than if you were shooting in some of the other cameras that lower it substantially when you shoot at 120 frames per second. How do I get GPS info? Well, it doesn't have it built in, but the beauty of Olympus with their smart camera app is that you can download the Olympus Share. This is called the Olympus Image Share app, and notice that you can add geotag to your images that you record when you transfer it with the Olympus Image Share app. So that way you can do your GPS coordinates on your imaging using their particular app, and it makes life so much easier that way. Does it allow external USB charging? I know that's become really popular because that way you would be able to connect a portable power source to it, and it's a shame because it actually does have the newest USB connection, which is a USB-C to USB 3.0, but no, it does not. It does not allow you to charge through USB. You do have to use the separate charger and battery to be able to power your Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II. Does it allow me to bracket, and how does it do bracketing? Well, it again comes with a full menu. Just turn the camera on, and you want to make sure you're within the MSAP. It's not going to do this very well in Intelligent Auto. We're going to hit our menu button, and then we're going to go to the second camera menu, and notice how the first folder says bracketing. Move that over. On. I keep forgetting that you can do it with the touchscreen also. And then I can set my exposure bracketing up to 3 frames, and I can pick the amount of frames and the amount of exposure value. No, sorry, 7 frames. So yes, you can do some serious exposure bracketing on there. You have white balance. You have flash bracketing. ISO bracketing, up to 3 stops. Art bracketing, so you can bracket the different types of art filters, and there they are. And you can actually activate it or deactivate the particular art filter that you want. And focus bracketing, which, wow, this is the one that we've been waiting for. So it allows you to pick the number of shots and even the focusing differential, whether you want a wider or narrower shot. They say that this model allows you to do in-camera focus stacking. Yes, it does. And again, a wonderful feature that we've been waiting for. And thank you, Olympus, for listening to us. You're going to have to go, again, work on manual so you can activate all of your menu options. Going to go into shooting menu 2, which is a little camera with the 2 on it. We're going to go into bracketing, activate that. And then we're going to go all the way down to focus bracketing. You want to activate that, and there is your first setting for focus stacking. And that way, like it states on there, it allows you to take multiple shots where your focus points are moved further back every shot, and then the images are not stacked. But when you turn it on this way, it does allow you to now slightly forward and backward from the initial point, and then the images are stacked. So this way it does it in camera, and you can be real precise in how many shots you want to do this. Notice how you can change the focusing points to either a wider perspective or a more narrow one. And this makes your life so much easier when you're going to be doing some great macro photography with your OMD E-M1 Mark II. Are the dual card slots UHS 2? No, they are not. The first one is UHS variant 2, and the secondary one is UHS 1. I mean, you can put a UHS 2 card in here, but it's actually going to slow it down. So you want to make sure you use the UHS 2 on the primary slot, and then the other ones on the secondary slot. That way you'll maintain the proper speed. Is it completely weather sealed? Absolutely. That's another one of the features that they wanted to add to their new lineup. So you have weather sealing all around here. Notice you have freeze proof, dust proof, just feels great in the hand. And of course, the weather sealing on the lens is going to be very important if you have a weather seal lens. This one does not have weather sealing on the lens, but if you bring out the new 12 to 100 millimeter, that one does have weather sealing because that's one of their Pro series. So, but take into consideration, this camera is meant to take anything you throw at it. It's dust proof, heat resistant, freeze proof, weather sealed. Remember, it can't go underwater. This is not an iPhone 7, so it doesn't have IP67 or anything like that. You don't want to go swimming with it, but all in all, you can be in harsh environments and it won't let you down. How good is the continuous autofocus on the OMD E-M1 Mark II? Yep, this is the reason this camera exists. Olympus made sure that the focusing system in this camera is on par with today's full-frame fast DSLRs. But you have to set it up first. Obviously, you want to be in shutter priority at the minimum. You never want to be on aperture priority or program or intelligent auto. Maybe manual, but here I'm interested in the faster shutter speed. So let's activate the camera and let's go into our super menu. First, I'm going to set it to sequential low. Honestly, that works very fine. I mean, to me, 8 to 10 frames per second is more than adequate. Then we're going to switch it over to face eye priority on. Notice how that's indicated. And we're going to switch it to the first point right here, single point in the middle. And we're now going to set it at a faster shutter speed. I pretty much chose 1/400th of a second, but notice what happens with the shots that Adam did here just a little second ago in the Digital Goja showroom. Now I'm going to hold the toggle down so you can see all the sequence, and it'll actually go through the entire sequence. It's actually a silent movie. Look at that. That is incredible. And I tried to move enough so that it wouldn't be able to track me, and it kept me in focus in every single frame. So absolutely, if you want to do continuous autofocus with your Micro Four Thirds, this is the camera to beat. How many frames per second can I do in RAW? Well, that's another one of the wonderful features of this camera. You absolutely can shoot in RAW in continuous focusing, which is the continuous autofocus with tracking. So we can go ahead here and you can set it to face priority if you choose to. And then we can go here and set it to RAW. And we can switch it to sequential high and set it to a single point. So again, 18 frames per second in continuous autofocusing with tracking. How many focusing points does it have? It has 121 focusing points, and you can activate them by going into the super menu, highlight the field, and there you go. You have 121 focusing points to work with. Awesome. Can I use focus peaking? Absolutely. That's one of the pleasures of Micro Four Thirds. That's been very popular due to the fact that we have so many manual lenses for it. So we're going to click on menu, custom menu, and we're going to scroll over to A3. Move over to where it says manual focus assist, click on that, and there's focus peaking, and when you click on it, that activates the focus peaking capability on your Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II. Can I change the colors when I'm doing focus peaking? Absolutely. Let's go into the menu again, and now we're going to go into the custom settings menu, and we're going to go to the D section, D3. There's your peaking settings, and not peaking duck. So we can start out with red, black, white, yellow. And you can also check the highlight intensity, whether you want normal or high or low. And you can even adjust the image brightness, which will adjust the brightness to enhance the highlight visibility when you're on live view. So there you have it. A lot of control for your focus peaking. Can I magnify the image when I'm focusing on manual? Of course. Again, lots of capabilities in this camera. Hit menu. We're going to go into the custom settings, scroll down to A3, go to manual focus assist. There's magnify, scroll to the right, move up, and then select on to automatically magnify the image when the focus ring is rotated in manual focus mode. Makes life so much easier. Does it record a time code stamp for your video? Yes, it does. Again, this is a very video-centric camera. And notice it right there on the left. There's your time code stamp. So that's going to make it much easier for professional video production with the OMD E-M1 Mark II. Well, I hope you liked this video on the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II and that you found it helpful. Please also share it with fellow photographers and videographers, and if you have further questions, don't forget to put them in the comment section below. Happy shooting!